Coming to you from Final Third Cigar and Whiskey Lounge in Ingalls, Indiana, Indiana's exclusive Aladino Cigar Lounge. It's the Final Third Podcast.
Welcome back to the Final Third Podcast. I'm Rob.
And I'm Isaiah.
And today we're going to do a little experiment.
It's for science.
It is for science.
It's totally for science.
So if you've seen everybody and their brother on the internet talking about Elijah Craig C923 batch, we got some in. And apparently it is the best thing ever.
Well, yeah, I heard people even say that it was better than some of the old pirate bottles, which is like the original Elijah Craig barrel proofs, which those batches, if it's in a pirate bottle, like some of them will reach like 450 to 600 on the secondary market. Like,
yeah,
that's Thomas H. Handy price range.
Right. And spoiler alert, you're going to be shocked. And we're going to put that up actually against our barrel pick that we did that we know we love. So we're going to see the comparisons, talk a little bit about the two, and try to figure out what the hell the internet's doing wrong.
Well, there is an entire conversation to be had around it, too. Just because of the state of what I would call like mid to lower tier allocated products, like something like an Elijah Craig or like Larceny Barrel Proof, or you know, where they are allocated. But if you've been to a liquor store before, you're probably going to be able to get one.
Sure, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Now the C923, it's a 13-year, 7-month Elijah Craig. Is this the last one they're putting the year and month on?
No, this is the first one.
First one, okay.
They did that on
because they've taken it away from the regular barrel proof offerings. Now they just put the year, right? That's what I've been told.
On the
because didn't they used to say on the other ones? It was always just 12 years.
You're talking on the picks.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm
no.
wrong. Maybe
so
I'm not talking myself.
On all of the barrel proof batches, they were non-age stated. So
that's okay.
So it was assumed 12 years, and that's kind of what they would say about them.
I got you.
When they dropped the age statement, people were worried that they were just going to start putting younger product in there, but what happened was they dropped a standardized age statement, which was that 12-year mark, and then started putting it on there how old it is. So this is 13 years, 7 months, 133 proof.
Which it's the first one above 130 in a while?
Yeah.
Or the first one ever. I don't know if it was the first one ever. I know
it's not the first one ever, because some of those pirate bottles are hazmat.
So we'll keep them right and left. So that'll be right. And then we'll do our barrel pick on the left. Okay. Our barrel pick is 122.6. And of course, we love it.
Yeah, we do.
I'm excited to put these up against each other. We've already drank them separate, but we're doing them side by side, which Scott Johnston and I did a little bit of this experiment yesterday too. So
yeah. Well, what are we smoking today, Rob?
Yeah, we're going to smoke the Black Label Trading Company's Bishop's Blend. This is a new blend from them that came out. I believe it was PCA, but it just recently shipped and came in here. It has a Pennsylvania, Connecticut broadleaf wrapper over Ecuadorian binder. I'm assuming more like an Ecuadorian Habano on here. It could be an Ecuadorian Maduro. Does not state it. And then Pennsylvania and Nicaraguan fillers. So this is actually a nice price point. It's in that $12 to $13 range, and nice full-bodied cigar to get our day started.
Yeah, I just did the V-cut on it, and it has a crazy-looking cap on it.
Yeah.
It is more torpedo-like, but it is literally just a bishop's cap.
It's a bishop's cap, exactly.
Yeah. They went out of their way to put like 7 leaves on here. It is not the cleanest looking cap job, but it is sturdy.
Oh yeah, that cap is probably from the top of it's probably almost 3/4 of an inch down the cigar.
Yeah, and it looks like there's
inch.
Probably 4 or 5 caps on there.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, at least 4, maybe 5 because I cut off the top. So yeah. Amazing.
It's not going anywhere, that's
No.
for sure. This has got a closed foot on it, so probably the cold draw will be a little bit tougher.
Still not too bad.
What are you getting, Rob?
Kind of a semi-sweet chocolate and a little bit of that barnyard thing going.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'm excited about lighting this one up. This is full-bodied. That was one thing Rob said. Are you good with full-bodied in the morning? Because we're recording this at 10 in the morning, and the answer is always yes. Once again, we're both using the Julius by Calibri.
Yep.
Fantastic soft flame lighters. These would be great for even using as pipe lighters because they do shoot off the side. So
Yeah. Really, really nice lighter. I've been using pretty much nonstop. Effortless draw. It's got the black pepper on the palate, but I was really shocked. Okay, there it is. The retro hail is not near as spicy as I was expecting off that first puff.
Yeah.
It's strong, but it's not spicy strong.
it is.
Until it lays on the back of the palate for a minute, but it gets there. It picks it back up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is the morning. You know what flavor I'm getting on the palate, though?
What?
Scott DeShong's going to be so proud.
Oh, the umamis.
Umami.
Umami.
It really is like a more savory palate on
It
this
is
one.
so far, yeah. Although, I'm still getting that kind of this is kind of funny. I'm getting the kind of oak tannic thing that we're going to be talking about.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Okay. So
All right.
let's go side by side and just nose the whiskeys, see
All
if
right.
we can figure out the differences before we even go.
All
to
right,
the
so we're
palate.
going into the C923.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't know, Elijah Craig releases out 3 releases a year: A123, B523, and C923 this year.
Yeah.
So the numbers are January, May, September, and then the year after that. So it makes it real easy to figure out what the bottles are. They don't do all kinds of crazy numberings and OESQ and shit like that.
well, they don't have
that's
as many
actually good.
mash bills.
That's
as,
actually pretty good, though.
As Four Roses. And they also don't hide the batch number in the grass like they do on barrel seagrass, where you have to get a magnifier out just to see it.
Yeah, exactly. That is kind of a pain. Cool, but kind of a pain.
It is interesting. So what are you getting on the nose of this C923?
I'm getting kind of a like a cherry apricot, kind of both.
I can see that. It is
when you
almost
stick your nose in too
doing,
long, it's a little bit medicinal, just because you're in there too long.
Yeah,
But
and it kind of reminds me of it has some like dusty whiskey characteristic in there where it's got almost that mothballs-ish thing on the nose.
it does. That's what's throwing me off, because I definitely because I think the first time we tried it, I think I was getting more cherry. Then I'm getting a little bit of the apricot this time. Apricot.
And granted, we are smoking cigars currently and have both already retrohaled. So
yeah.
take into account that is affecting.
That could be affecting making the more apricot than cherry.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, it does have some of that fruit, and then like you said, there's that background of the mothball thing. Which,
and there's definitely some detectable oak. It's that it's kind of Rickhousey.
Yep. There it is.
Yeah. What's the palate doing for you, Rob?
It's just that crazy oak tannic thing. It's just like it's just way over oaked. It's not terrible, but we'll go there longer.
So
It just continues that oak tannic thing just keeps going and going.
well, and it's drying.
It does. It makes your tongue fill. Well, so Jen had a good tasting note on this.
Okay.
She said, "Why is my mouth fuzzy?" Exactly. It kind of makes you feel like your tongue's growing hair or something weird like that.
Yeah, it's With the cigar, it's not as off-putting of a flavor as what I've experienced it before, but it is super tannic oak, that really charred oak characteristics in there. Like that's the main flavor note in there is that that oak char, and it's just drying. Like, and I'm the type of guy that'll go for a whiskey based off of mouthfeel and finish. And the finish, it kills me on this because it is long, but it makes your tongue feel like you're in the Sahara Desert.
Yeah,
like
and
just
that's the
absolutely dry it out. Yeah,
the length on it just feels like okay. If the oak stopped at the first beginning, it'd be like okay, it's a little over oak, but it tastes pretty good. But then that oak just continues to drive into your tongue and continues to dry you out more and more. And
okay, try the cigar after that. Did it mess up the cigar for you too?
On the palate, for sure. On the retrohale, it's made the retrohale a little stronger. But on the palate, that's weird.
It is really weird.
Yeah, so
that is not a great pairing whiskey.
No, we'll get to ours. I think ours will be great with it. What's killing us about this, and again, we just got the private barrel in the same time we got this. People are going nuts over this online.
Yeah, they are.
Almost, I mean, I've seen, Scott Johnston was going through and running through all the YouTube things, and everyone's going, best ever, best bourbon ever, best cigar of this year. And I'm like, I don't know if people are buying into the 13-year, 7-month thing. I honestly have no idea. I would love to talk to some of these YouTubers and reviewers to find out what makes this special to them. Yeah. Because honest to me, it's just, it's over oaked. It's just stayed in the barrel too long.
Well, and you're not oak sensitive like I am.
No, not near as much. And this one, that would hit me hard the first time.
Yeah, it's not my thing.
And we've tried to add water to it. Does not help. Spreads out the oak.
Probably kills some of the sweetness.
It does. Yeah. It just makes it more dry, actually.
I think the thing that's getting whiskey YouTube the most right now is the fact that they're having to go out of their way to make engaging content with product that wasn't as good as it was 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like everything, you watch some Mash and Drum videos, which I think Jason from Mash and Drum has a great palate.
And they loved this bottle.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. But they're going out of their way to find something that's not highly limited, that's good. And you get a bottle like this that has an age statement like that, and it's cheaper than Remus Repeal, and I promise you somehow it's going to be better than this year's batch.
Yeah.
But everybody on these like mid-tier allocated bottles, like the Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs, Larceny Barrel Proofs, Remus Repeal Reserve, there's a ton of them that come out every year. Like every brand has theirs, like the Yellowstone limited releases, all those things. Like they have sucked the past couple of years.
Yeah,
like the quality of the whiskey has gone down. They're putting younger stuff in there. I'd even throw like Midwinters in there and products from High West Distilling.
Yeah,
and all these whiskey YouTubers are trying to make a video of something that's good that you can get your hands on. And
it's getting harder and harder.
It's getting harder and harder. So I think in some way they're inflating how good this is just to satisfy their viewership.
Yeah, but that's a quick way to get people to not trust you, I think. Because I'll be honest with you, if I was going off of the YouTube, say Mash and Drum.
Is this bottle 1 or 2 that you had?
This is bottle 1.
Okay.
So it's had air. It's had plenty of time to acclimate. It's still there. I will say it's better than it was when we first opened it.
It was heinous.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
It's getting better, but it's still not.
It's not going to get special. That much better.
No. So I don't know, man. I don't know what people are thinking. I would love to find out what their thoughts are on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not. Well, we've tried quite a few people on this bottle, and we had a running joke with Scott Johnston
He thought we was messing with it.
He thought we were because everybody else said it was great, and he was hunting this bottle hard, and we all told him it was awful, and he finally came in and said, "F you guys, you were right."
Exactly. Well, and that's what's so funny is, I'm not a huge, like I said, I'm not a huge Weeder fan, but I would put Larceny 523 this year over that.
Oh, I believe it. I don't think I've tried the 523 batch.
Oh, it's delicious, and it's the first. Actually, I think it's the first Larceny barrel proof I've had, and I love it. So I don't know if it's
523. Yeah.
Yes.
No. We tried that on the show. It was great.
We did. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go to ours and we'll bounce back and forth here. So this one, like I said, this one's 10 years and right about 11 months. On the statement, it just shows 10 years because they don't do that on the private barrels.
Yeah. So on the nose for me, it's like vanilla, salted caramel, and a little bit of almost what I would call like a strawberry syrup, like a strawberry pie sort of thing.
Well, it's funny, coming from the other one, I mean, this is just bright and pretty.
It is. And granted, this is off profile for Elijah Craig barrel proofs. I have not had one that ever tasted like this.
No.
In the best way possible.
Yeah, exactly.
There it is.
Totally different
On the palate, it's oily. There's that salted caramel that comes through, that light bit of fruitiness, and it finishes with a great balance of oak.
Yeah.
You can tell this is an older whiskey, and it's buttery.
Yes. Let's see, because I still get that same note, and buttery is a great thing, what's left on the palate, because I get that same note when I first kind of nose it and then take that first sip. It's immediately vanilla cream soda for me. And then as it finishes off, it's almost that toasted oak caramel.
Yeah.
And it's all the things I love in whiskey in one. And I mean, people must be loving it because we've had it we got it Friday night. I think it was Friday night, wasn't it? Thursday night. So Friday and Saturday, we sold almost a case and a half. So like 15 to 17 bottles of this already in pours, and pours alone.
Yeah.
So I mean, people are loving it. I can't get enough of it, to be honest with you.
I've drank a ton of it. I have drank a ton of this bottle.
And
I haven't wanted to go to anything else.
I know.
It's just really impressive to me.
That's why we're on here. It's on the second week in a row for us, but
yeah, I mean about it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I feel like people are trying to create content right now, and there's nothing coming out that's special. So let's throw it out there. Scott and I had a good conversation yesterday too about this, and I wonder if maybe Elijah Craig kind of maxes out in its best flavors in that 12-year mark. And maybe by this one going a year and a half longer, just took it too much into the oak to be a good release.
Well, like, have you ever had Elijah Craig 18?
Yeah, and I feel like this is way more oaky than that.
Oh gosh, not the one I had. That
really? I feel like this is way more oak than the 18 I had.
Dude, the 18 that I have tried, and I've tried two different ones, and finally just gave up on it. All tasted like somebody took moonshine, like a straight corn whiskey, and dumped pencil shavings into it and then proofed it down. Like, I hated it. Again, oak sensitive. So take that as you will.
But I felt like the oak I was getting in that was the oak flavoring, but not just making your tongue go dry.
Yeah.
This one does both. And I feel like this one may not be as heavy on the oak flavor, but it's very heavy on the tannins.
It is heavy on the
quality.
Tannins. Yeah.
So
there is something to that. There's a lot of, it's pretty standard across distilleries that once barrels reach a certain age, just dropping them to a lower spot in the rick house so they're not experiencing as wild of temperature fluctuations.
Yeah.
And I don't think Heaven Hill has put the care and attention to do that on barrels that are stamped Elijah Craig.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't needed to.
Well,
and in the past, if a bottle or if a barrel got over oaked, what do you do with that? You throw that in a small batch, proof it down, and then it's still the same good old fashioned Elijah Craig small batch that you've always bought.
Right. I'd be curious to find out what the process is for them to do their annual releases. If there's a specific part of a rick house that they use, or if they have just like several barrels they pick from at a certain age point and they're just trying to figure out what one to release. It'd be fun to find out, because every year, all three of them are totally different. There's usually one home run, and then the other two are okay.
Yeah.
Like last year, C923 for me was the home run.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
And this year, everyone's saying this one.
It's pretty lame to me.
Honestly, I've had all three of them. Haven't been super impressed with any one of them this
Yeah.
year. And I hate that, because I love Elijah Craig. I mean, Heaven Hill is my favorite distillery.
That kind of seems to be how they go, though. They'll have an off year, then an on year. So, like, the 20s were all fantastic. C920, like, people...
520, wasn't it?
Yeah, 520.
520
is the one people go crazy
Yeah.
for. And then 21 was just a year of flops for them.
Yeah. They
And
were
then
just
20,
okay.
22, people were like, oh, they're coming back. They got it. And then 23, it's like, okay, 23 is still better than all of the 20. Like, 23, all three of the batches are way better than the 21s.
Yeah.
But even at that, it's still not as good as last year's releases.
Well, and just like this one here, if you let this set in the glass and you think, oh, get more air on it, do that kind of thing with it, it stays right where it is. And it's viscous as hell, man. I mean, it drips down the glass. I mean, it's like there's ridges on the glass from how it's dripping down. So it's very oily and viscous, but that could also be tannins coming through it and really just hanging on the glass too.
And it is oily and viscous, but as soon as it hits your palate, it's drying.
Yeah, it really is. And again, my favorite wine's a Cabernet. That's a drying wine, but it doesn't hang on the palate and keep you dry for a long time like this does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, if anybody knows any of the guys that did a YouTube review of this and loved it, it'd be fun to have them on the show and talk to them about why. I can't imagine we got a bad bottle, but it's the only bottle we've had so far.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. You know what I'm going to do for science?
Oh, don't. Oh, you're going to try to. Okay, you're going that way. Okay, that's good. That's good science there.
I am pouring in
Blend
like
them.
a half ounce of our pick into this to see if I can sweeten it out to balance out some of that oak.
While you're tasting that, let me go ahead and say it. This is going to be posting on October the 9th, I believe.
That's correct.
Yeah. So starting tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 10th, 11th, 12th, we're going to be closed. So if you're listening to this and want to come in, we won't be here till Friday. We're a family-owned business, and we're going to finally take a vacation. So we're going to be gone for a few days. But we'll be back on Friday. Tam will at least be here. Tam and Jim, I believe, will be here on Friday. And as if it's super busy, then we'll come in as well, because we're getting in really late that night or early in the morning. So we'll see if we can get in here. But we'll be right back on it on Friday. So just so you know, we're trying to make sure everyone knows before that week gets in there. We've said it a lot, but we're going to be closed for a few days, and going to be watching the grandkids on the beach. So that's kind of fun.
Heck yeah.
Did that help?
Quite a bit, but
Did
there's
it?
still a ton of oak tannin.
Yeah, I don't know if you can kill tannin.
That's right. Like, it added some of that salted caramel in there, but it's still super tannic.
Yeah, it helps a lot on the flavor, but the drying. Oh my God, the drying's still there.
Still there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh well, I don't know.
Yeah, I really don't get it with the whiskey tubers.
No.
In fact, I will say this. I feel like a lot of them are becoming more sellouts. And this is due to brand deals, product deals,
Sponsorships.
yeah, sponsorships, and there's a couple now that are starting up their own whiskey brands, and it's for somebody in the reviewing space. And I say this fully understanding what you do and what this is.
Yeah.
Starting a brand and promoting your brand is a killer for a reviewing, because you're no longer able to be biased.
Yeah.
It's I mean, eventually it'll be like, hey, why buy this when you can buy my product? It's $20 cheaper. And
probably the ones that have done the best on balancing that have been the boys from the Whiskey Tribe. Because they don't review their own stuff on the show.
No, they don't.
And so it's Crowded Barrel is the name of the distillery, and they get bottles all the time and review them and talk about them. And they've done probably hundreds of thousands of videos by this time. And but they don't review their own stuff. Now they'll talk about it, every once in a while, but they're never going to try to sway you in that show.
Well, and
to come buy their stuff.
Like on the Whiskey Tribe channel, they go out of their way to create more like whiskey entertainment style content or distillery entertainment content. They've been doing a lot of cocktail videos and stuff like that. And that's, that's a pretty cool thing.
And they're engaging. I mean, they have good banter between the two guys. And honestly, they both have really good palates.
Yeah.
Even though they goof off sometimes, they have amazing palates. So, and the I can't remember what the girl's name is that works with them, but she's got a fantastic palate too.
Does.
Actually, she might have even more sensitive palate than the guys do, which that happens a lot with women.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of women, that's another one too. Is Jackie Zykan. I mean, she's got an amazing palate, and we're working with her. The beginning of 2024, we're going to be having a sensory training here.
Heck yeah.
So it's going to be very limited. We're going to make it very intimate so everyone can come. I mean, it's going to be a pay event, and we're going to be closed down. It's going to be like a $125 event, but you get the entire kit that she does, the glassware you get to take with you, and you're going to be able to sit here and listen from the master blender, pretty much of our time right now. But she also sells the fragrances, so it's a perfect kind of thing for her to kind of teach how to nose, how to taste whiskey. And if you're a whiskey lover and you've never been able to really pull notes and stuff out, she will help you a ton during this event.
Well, and it's expensive, but you will walk away knowing you got your money's worth.
Yeah. And every single one of these that she's ever done, and she said she's done everything from 25 people to 300 people. Every single one of them is sold out. So this is going to be one you're going to have to get your tickets early. As soon as we know a date, we'll probably start promoting it, and then we'll have a specific time where we start it so people can call in to get their tickets going. But I'm thinking maybe 25 or 30 people max.
Yeah.
Make it very intimate so that she can really engage everyone. And it'll just be a fun time. With it being more than likely January-ish, we're hoping. It's going to be cold, so it'll all be inside. So we'll definitely want to keep that probably in that 30 people range or lower.
Yeah.
Or 30 people range. So be looking out for that one. That's going to be an amazing time. I can't wait to. And we're also hopefully going to have her on the show here in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Once we get everything, the call-ins and everything figured out and how that works well.
Totally.
Then we're going to have her on the show and talk a little bit about that. Also talk about her journey, which is a pretty amazing journey.
Yeah, it is. So I'm into the second third of this cigar, and it is amplifying some of those more earthy notes in there.
Yeah, it is.
For me.
Spice levels dropped off a little bit on the retrohale, but
Yeah.
that could be just we're getting into it.
Still umami.
Yep. A lot of that.
And some
In a good
cedar
way.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
The palate or the retrohale has dropped off some of the spice, but it could just be that we're getting used to it.
Yeah.
I know in the final third of this, it's going to ramp back up, though.
Okay, I just thought of something on this.
Okay.
This on my palate is doing a lot of the same things that Amburana does on my palate.
Oh,
All the things that I hate about Amburana, this is pulling out. And that's why I think I dislike it so much. And maybe it's the Amburana is pulling all those weird kind of wood notes out. This is doing that with the oak tannins. So it's not the, brown sugar cinnamon thing you also get from that. It's just that tannic quality underneath of the wood. So, which I know most of you guys don't know this. I don't like Amburana.
nobody knows that. Nobody said that. I was watching a pick video put out by the Bourbon Junkies, and they went to RD1, which is a newer. They're newer to our market.
They are,
but they're doing a lot of special finishing, special wood finishing.
They're getting most of their stuff, if not all of it, from BBC, I think, right? That's what I think I read on the bottle. I thought it was BBC.
I can't.
But I may be wrong.
I can't say either way. I don't know. But they're new enough to the market that would make the most sense. But they are doing stuff with Amburana, with French oak, and stuff like that. But they're doing finishing in regular new charred oak barrels, and they're dropping staves. Like they're doing the inner stave thing.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, but I'm sure it leads to a more balanced Amburana product because they're dropping like one stick of Amburana in a 53-gallon barrel. And I don't know. I even saw that they were messing around with like red oak and different types, just trying to see what they can cut their teeth on. And, in the I guess if you're newer to this market, you kind of do have to have a stick at this point. But yeah, are you looking it up?
Yeah,
still?
I'm looking it up, and I'm not the car. Trying to see if I can find a back label somewhere in here to see where it's distilled, but everything's showing the front.
Yeah, it would not surprise me.
I mean, it just says Kentucky straight bourbon on the front.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I'm not sure.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm pretty sure when I was down in Kentucky last time, I saw some in the store, and I should have bought some, but I looked at the back. I thought it said made in Bardstown, Kentucky, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, which if something is made in Bardstown, Kentucky, you can just about bet that it's BBC.
Yeah, unless they state it's their distillery. And there are multiple distilleries in Bardstown.
and it would say something like distilled by or even like produced by is kind of hard terminology. You talked about that last time.
Damn alligator got my hand.
Have you even used it as an ashtray?
I have. Yes, I have. It works fine. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that.
Is that what it's made to be?
It is actually, believe it or not.
That's so goofy.
It's awesome.
It's super porous. I'm sure it sucks to clean.
No, actually, it didn't do too bad. It's all steel, so it's like, I don't know. But I love it. I love it.
Thanks, Tam.
Yep. Chubb's hand. Damn alligator. I love this cigar. I love, because I'm still getting kind of that almost bitter dark chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate thing going. But it's balanced out with with that earthy quality to it.
It is.
The spices there. Not your typical, I'm going to start my day off with this. But since we're drinking bourbon with it, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been a good addition to the humidor.
Okay, so now that blend has sat a little while longer, it's
Getting better.
It is getting better.
So maybe they should have. Well, I don't know. We ended up with 144 bottles, which was way more than we thought we were going to get of our pick. So there could have been more. They could have just went ahead and thrown it in there.
Yeah, but then it would have been a 10-year age statement.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
The nose has actually gotten nicer.
Yeah.
Our wonderful new table is brought to you by Deadwood Live. That's D-E-D Wood Live. Go check them out on Facebook and see what Derek can do for you. From bars to tabletops to a giant podcast table, they specialize in making super high quality furniture from live edge woods and reused barrels. So reach out to them on Facebook and see what they can do for you.
Yeah.
But if that was C923 this year, I'd be like, heck yeah, that rocks.
Yeah, because the oak tannic, it gets dry after a few seconds, but it's coming across more with
like
that
mouth
as
water.
proof
Yeah.
than tannic.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But there it is, though.
There it is.
It's still sitting there as that drying. Got the hair growing on the tongue. So, okay, I got a trivia question for you.
Okay.
So, two questions, two-part question.
Okay.
The first question is, who makes the most expensive cigar in the world? Second question is, who makes 3 of the top 10 most expensive cigars in the world? Two questions.
Who makes
Who makes the most expensive cigar in the world? And it's $1 million to
$1 million to
buy it. And I think it might be $1 million for the box, but it's still $1 million. Most expensive cigar.
I would guess that 3 of the top 10 would go to one of the Cuban brands, and I could probably guess Cohiba.
Okay.
The $1 million cigar, I don't know. That's probably some high horse that Rocky got on.
You want to know what the answer
Yeah,
is?
I
don't have the exact cigars, which I don't know if that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Both of them are the same manufacturer.
Okay.
Both of them are Gurkha.
Gurkha.
Isn't that nuts?
Gurkha.
I'm like,
Schnitzel, bitches.
yeah, that one kind of threw me when I saw that article. I'm like, holy crap! I think they were number 1, number 3 or 4, and then like number 6 or 7 on the most expensive cigars in the world. I'm like, wow. I would be interested to find out that $1 million cigar if they've ever sold one.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is like.
I mean, I could roll a cigar in my backyard and say it's $1 million and say it's the most expensive, $1,001, and it's the most expensive cigar
we'll
in the world.
We'll get a custom pint.
Just never sell it.
A custom Spanish cedar cabinet made as the box.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. Put all the money in the packaging.
Yeah, heck yeah. So, and just like in the whiskey world, just because it's the most expensive thing doesn't mean somebody's bought it.
Exactly, yeah.
Or that it's good.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing to
Tell you
me,
what, if you guys want to send us one, we'll smoke it on the show.
I would like to. I legitimately would like to try.
No.
Yeah,
That ain't happening.
I would totally try the upper end Gurkha stuff. Would you not? Somebody sent us one of the, even number 7 on the most expensive cigar list.
Yeah. No, I
Would you
would
not try it
Oh,
on
I'd
the
love
show?
to. I'd love to try some of these more expensive ones because honestly, I know what it's going to prove. It's going to prove to me that some of these $10 to $15 cigars out there are as good as anything expensive.
Yeah.
So
It's very interesting in the cigar world when people who are making typically like everyday man to budget in cigars dip their toes into high end.
yeah.
You know, I mean, on a drastic scale, it would be like if the brand behind Chillin' Moose came out with a $30 cigar.
Yep, and it could be coming.
Do you trust that brand that puts chop filler in a cigar with
Well,
the $30
There's
stick?
a perfect example. Well, 2 perfect examples of that this last few years. The one that came out first is a brand called Nova. If you
Okay.
ever seen them, they've got that kind of Tiffany blue color on their labels. Their cigars were, when they released them, were $20+ cigars, all of them. And it's a brand new brand no one's ever heard of. And we had samples sent to us of all the higher end ones. Not a one of them I wanted to pay more than $5 or $6 for. And I'm sorry, if you're a Nova fan or if you're from Nova, I would like to try your stuff again. But that first batches were not that great.
And if you're from Nova, we'd like to set up a video call with you and have you on the show. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, because I'd like to find out what constitutes that price point.
Yeah.
I've seen kind of how prices can be made for cigars. There's not as much science to the pricing as there could be.
Yeah.
Leave it at that. But
sometimes it's, we're going to charge this because we can.
Yeah. And some of that, and some of it is, this has been aging for an extra 15 years in a barn. So you got to pay for that time and the people and the labor and all that stuff to do it. I get that. You got to increase the price for some of that, but starting off that way. And then the other one, which we loved the cigar, was last year's Freud.
Yeah.
Those cigars were fantastic, but they were
really
$25 cigars.
Yeah.
It's like to have your first cigar, one blend, one size.
The other thing I will say about that brand is they sent us a full box
amazing.
of Lanceros.
Lonsdales. They were Lonsdales, yes.
And I didn't have a single one that smoked poorly.
They were amazing.
Like, Rob and I practically split the box.
I would like to bring them in here because, we do have people that don't mind spending a few bucks on a great cigar. It's just, if you're going to spend that kind of money on a cigar, it better be a brand you recognize. And being brand new, I don't think anyone had ever heard of it. I'd be interested to find out how it's selling across the nation.
Yeah, that's a cigar that we would have to go out of our way to sell. Because there's no brand recognition.
Now, I will say, once someone buys one that's their price point, they'll buy more.
Yeah.
No doubt at all.
They were great.
But you're talking, $300 or $300, I think it would have been for a box of 10.
Yeah.
That's getting salty.
It is.
So whatever.
Where was Davidoff on that list?
I don't think there were any Davidoffs.
See, that would be a brand that people would trust with $1 million cigar.
Yeah.
Because
it's got that class thing going already.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find
Is CLE on that list at all?
No. Well, that was the first cigar that they put out that was that expensive.
It's $60.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the same thing in all industries, and you hear about it in the guitar industry too, of these companies that are making lower end or budget guitars, and they cut their teeth on that kind of, or in that $1,000 or under market, and then they build a custom shop, and they're like, oh yeah, these guitars are very similar build quality to what you're getting on the lower end stuff, except they're made in like the UK or made in the US, and they've got better components, but it's the same shape. They look super similar. It's hard for them to make that jump into the premium market if you're going kind of backwards.
So I don't know if this doesn't look at the same list, but I'm going to see if it is. So number one's the Gurkha Royale Courtesan, $1 million.
Crazy.
And it's, let's see.
I wonder if they've got them on C-bid.
So here's your thing. C-bid, $950.
Yeah.
Gurkha Royale Courtesan is where cigar royalty begins. This is obviously from Gurkha. The cigar's filter is one of the rarest coming. The cigar's filter.
It's got a filter?
Wood tip Gurkhas. Nice. $1 million.
Are they wine tipped?
Coming from the secluded corners of the Himalayas, it is then watered by filtered Fiji water, and from there filtered with and infused with pears or pearls. How do you infuse it with pearls? That's interesting. I'm not reading more of it, but that's obviously they've made it a big deal. The second one is one called Mayan Cigars, SIGARS or CARS, $507,000 for that cigar. I think maybe that's just because it's a rare one, but that's still expensive.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the Grand Habano number 5 at $185,000, and that would be a Cuban. And let's see, number 4 is the Regis Double Corona at $2,000. This one's not give. Oh, there it is. Okay. So number 5 is the King of Denmark at $4,500. Gurkha Black Dragon at $1,150. Gurkha His Majesty Reserves at $750.
Are these single cigar prices or these boxes?
These are the way this is looking. They come in a. This one comes in a box of 20, which is $15,000.
Could you imagine being so loaded that you could just light up $1 million and smoke it in 45 minutes?
So this is the first one that came on here that I'm like, okay, I know these are expensive. The Cohiba Bahike.
Yeah.
And this size is $450, whatever size that is they're using here. So a box is $18,000 of that one.
So those just recently went up to that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got number 9's the Fuente Opus X, a certain one of the Opus X line, $300. 10 is the Fuente Aniversario at $78. Not a single Davidoff on there.
Good for Davidoff.
Yeah, good for them.
I mean, I'll see like the Year of the Rabbits and stuff like that show up, or if they're yearly releases, and those are over $100 a stick.
Yeah.
And you'll end up with like a 12 count box that's over $1,000, but Davidoff fans will buy it. Mm-hmm. And they know their market, and obviously
they also come in a really nice packaging, humidor,
yeah,
stuff like that. So the Davidoff fan, the Davidoff lover is collecting the entire experience, not just the one cigar.
Yeah, but I think in some way that is worth it because you have cigars that are typically in that $30 to $60 range. They come out with a limited, it's around $100.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're already in that brand, that's not a tall jump for you.
Right.
But if you're going to buy like the Cohiba, or not the Cohiba, the Gurkha, I mean, they're 12-year aged or whatever it is. It's like a $12 cigar, and then they expect you to spend over $1,000 or even $1 million.
Yeah.
It's a crazy jump.
Well, and like you said, with the Davidoffs, and I've seen this happen down at Blend, you've got people that, I mean, if you have that kind of money to spend and you're in that world where you got buddies and you got, or a spouse and they're hard to buy for, that's a great gift.
Yeah.
If you can afford something like that, that's a great gift because obviously it's probably the only one they're ever going to get.
I mean, when it comes to higher end cigars and all that deal, you got to think like, you have rich friends or whatever, what to get the people who have everything. You get them.
In my opinion, you get more consumables.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what it is you get consumables. And those still kind of are in that higher end gifting range. You talk about $1 million, you could buy a couple nice houses in Indiana or a really single nice Gurkha.
Yeah, yeah. Or several really nice cars.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you like a Lamborghini or a single Gurkha?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Or 3 to 4 Lamborghinis.
Yeah, I don't know Lambo prices.
Yeah, I don't know what they are now. They used to be where you can get 4 for $1 million, but maybe not anymore.
I would bet not. So you're about to go on vacation, and I'm about to go on my honeymoon. So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
What are you packing as far as cigars go, and are you bringing whiskey with you as well?
I'm not taking whiskey initially. So my first leg of my trip is I'm going down to Texas. We'll be down there for the Bastards Ball, which is the Whiskey Tribe's big gathering of whiskey drinkers, and then also hitting Still Austin for their event. So I'm not taking bottles with me there, but I'm probably going to be buying bottles there.
Yeah.
And then from that leg, I'm going to Florida, Destin, and I'll probably be carrying bottles from there to drink while we're in Destin.
Cool.
Cigar-wise, I'm going to probably take, 15 to 20, maybe at the most, because once we get to Destin, my Verbo is actually only like 3 minutes away from Harbor Cigars. Shout out. That we're gonna.
Have you been there before?
I've never been there before, and a buddy of mine, another one, Nick Ferguson. Shout out to him too. We're going to be meeting up because I haven't seen him since they've moved down there. So that's his local shop. We're gonna stop in there and have some cigars and drinks and
Cool.
hang out. So
Yeah.
So I'll probably get, I imagine whatever cigars I need extra, I'll probably just buy from them.
Absolutely. So I'm going on my honeymoon to St. Lucia in the Caribbean, which
Nice.
will be a great vacation spot. It's an all-inclusive resort. And I'm probably going to be packing everything because when you're out of the country, you have no clue.
St. Lucia has a couple of distilleries, but they're more into rum.
Yeah.
I know that's one of the places that might as well keep shouting out.
Shout out.
You know, Dan Karchner, he actually brought us in a bottle of rum from St. Lucia that he loved when he was
cool.
in there. So,
Yeah.
so you never know. Maybe you find something special.
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what cigars I'm going to pack because if we're outside all day, you might as well be smoking all day.
Absolutely.
And if you can smoke in a pool, that's even better.
Why can't you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Why can't
So,
you?
so here, this is even funnier too. So Austin, that's where we're going first on the first leg. Their average temperature over the last probably month or so has been mid-90s.
Gosh.
And I'm like, God, it's going to be so freaking hot. So you got today, it's 94. Well, okay, so yeah, this is a week before. But it's 94, right there right now. By the time we get to Saturday, the high is 71 degrees in
that's
Austin.
amazing.
It's going to be the
Some
perfect
cloud
day
cover,
for an
yeah.
event. I'm like, and those people, it's going to be so funny because I'm going to be down there in shorts and a t-shirt, and there's going to be everyone wearing sweatshirts down there because it's 25 degrees cooler than it was,
Yeah.
3 days before.
Yeah.
So we got some good loving on the temperatures by the time this trip shows up. So
Heck yeah.
bad thing is, Destin's where I kind of want it to be in the 80s. It's going to be in the low 70s there too when we get there. So
Yeah.
beach time is probably going to be sweatshirt time.
I think we're going to be in the 70s when we're in St. Lucia as well.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a little low for that area too.
It
for
is
this time of year.
their, well, this time of the year, it's their rainy season.
Oh, that's
Like,
true.
worse.
Yeah.
Which is fine because I get sunburned like crazy.
Well, Lisa was looking at the tropical storm outlook and all that stuff too. It looks like there's one right now brewing up, but it's gonna curve back off into the ocean. So
Yeah.
hopefully it doesn't affect you guys down there either.
Yeah, hopefully not. If it does, I guess we'll figure it out.
Riding the storm out. Just
Yeah.
play.
Okay.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Stand on the beach and do this.
Yeah.
Hold Victoria up and she goes, oh.
She hates when I pick her up. She says, "Put me down."
Put me down.
It's like it's too short to do anything about it.
You got to get her up so she can see over the crowd, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a courtesy.
It is. It's trying to be nice to you. Come on, Victoria.
I'm probably gonna pack some pie synesthesia. I've quite a bit of that.
I think I'm out of I've got one more left of those, which is
Really?
kind of a sad day because those are such a good cigar and they lasted probably way longer than they should have here.
Totally.
And did we ever announce that Jake is our new rep?
We did on the last episode.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be hanging out with Jake here soon too. He'll probably be coming into town here soon, talking.
Hopefully he'll bring us the new pies and we can smoke those on the show. with
Hopefully
him.
those will be coming out here soon because I've got them. I've got them on back order. Is that the pie red?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that one's going to be coming out really soon. But we'll see.
Yeah, we will.
We do still have the Las Calaveras,
Yeah.
and those have been smoking great.
Those are fantastic.
So we do have a few boxes left of those, and we've sold a lot of those. We sold way more of those than we did 2022.
well, because these were ready.
Yeah, we still have 2022s available too. So if you want some
And the
extra age-
2022s are more than ready now.
oh, they're smoking fantastic right now. So yeah, we're looking forward to doing that. I mean, I know last time Jake was in town, he and I had talked about maybe doing an event before he got kind of pushed up to the northeast for his territory. We were going to do an Angels Envy event with Crowned Heads.
Yeah.
I think that's back on the table. So we're going to talk about that and maybe see if we can get a double event going. Had a really good event with Crux. We didn't talk about that on the last show. No, that was last week. So we had Tony Haugen here, and super nice guy. If you ever get a chance to meet him, he's another one of those great reps that we have. And we sold a ton of Crux in here. Had the Claro event, sold through a lot of our humidors. We didn't sell any during the event, but we extended the event through the weekend. And obviously the humidor buyers were coming on the weekend, not on Thursday.
Yeah.
So that was actually nice. So we sold through a lot of the humidors.
I do remember we told the people on the episode. The people.
Yeah.
On the episode that just dropped, actually today when we're recording, that if they came in and mentioned that they heard it on the show, that you would extend the Crux offer to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do that. And I still have...
And that doesn't go for this week that this show is dropping, but this is me reminding Rob.
Yeah, I did say that last week. That's right. Yeah, so that's not for this show, but it's for last week. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's cool because we do still have some of the event-only cigars from them. And, yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
Not anymore, but we'll do that before
this drops.
Go back in time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
So what conspiracies have you been hearing about this week?
Are you expecting me to be hearing about
yes,
conspiracies?
you need to do your homework. Yes.
Have you heard about something? No? Why do you just bring it up like that?
I just want to throw it at you and see if you have anything.
No, I don't.
Darn. We need to actually, that's something we're going to do going forward is we're going to have conspiracy hour or minute, whatever we call it.
I'll find something real quick.
I did see there's a new, I believe it's Netflix. There's a new special, again, UFOs. And it's like the latest one, 2023, just released. So I kind of want to watch it because I get sucked into those UFO things, you know. So I'm probably going to be watching some of that to see if there's anything good to talk about. See anything?
Yeah. So here's one. On r/conspiracy, it says, so here is the, here's somebody that just posted a couple hours ago. The COVID-19 mRNA vaccine killed 24% more people in the vaccine group than the placebo group in the actual Pfizer trial, including 250% more cardiac arrest. It doesn't prevent infection or spread, but it does flood the body with free circulating spike proteins, which damage the heart and cause cancer.
Oh, nice.
And then
You're the herd.
Listen to this. The Nobel Prize in Medicine just went to the inventors of the mRNA vaccine.
Huh. Imagine that. Imagine that.
So I'm not going to read
Congratulations for murdering off part of the population.
Yeah.
That's great.
We love it. We love it.
All right. So, also, in the whiskey world, and, you know, I will tell you this right now, it's probably not going to be on my bar for many reasons, but Hard Truth and Mellencamp have come together for the Mellencamp whiskey, and go there and get it, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're a Mellencamp fan, you got to get you a bottle.
Here's another, here's a whiskey conspiracy for you.
Yeah?
I'll play the song again. So there was an article that just came out a couple days ago at the time of recording this that Hard Truth has been called Bourbon Disneyland. They called it Bourbon Disneyland.
Did they call it that themselves?
I don't know who called it that, but that
it's a nice property, and there's a lot of fun stuff too. The restaurant's great.
Here's the hard thing about it. Is that Starlight has been called Bourbon Disneyland for like 2 or 3 years now.
There's a lot more to do at Starlight for sure, too.
So the fact that they went out of their way.
Hard Truth is Disney World and Starlight's Disneyland.
All I'm saying is, and I'm not going to tell you that it's intentional because I have no clue, but it does seem like some shots were fired. And the other fact of the matter is Hard Truth is rye right now.
Right now, I will tell you, man, when their bourbon's coming,
I believe you.
It's freaking delicious.
I believe you, but They were called Bourbon Disneyland, and
I need to find out who was they that called them that.
it was called that in the article. That's what the article was titled, and that is a complete shot at Starlight.
Yeah. Well, and also if we're coming up to the fall leaves. All the trees are starting to change now. Nashville is going to be absolutely blown out with people.
Yeah.
They're going to kill it there during this
Oh,
next
they
few
will.
weeks.
And
it's a place to stop. If you're going down to Nashville, taking the family down for a day or whatever, the spouse down there, obviously Nashville's a fun place to walk around. Hard Truth is right there. Stop by there. Don't or get over to Nullbone. What's the
Bear Wallow.
Bear Wallow. Go over there and try their stuff.
Do Bear Wallow first. So let's plan your day for you.
Yeah, here we go.
So go to Bear Wallow first.
I will tell you, as you're driving in on 46, the traffic will be backed up way back. Hit your GPS. It'll take you on a little back road that goes right in to Bear Wallow. You won't have to deal with any traffic going that way.
Yeah. So start your day at Bear Wallow and then go over to Hard Truth, eat lunch there, and then do a tasting experience or whatever you can line up.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can go, like I said, Hard Truth they also do all the beer for, what's the brand of beer?
They do the Knuckle Buster.
Yeah, but what's that brand?
Quaffon. Which their Strawberry Blonde is one of their most populars.
It is number one for them.
Yeah.
They sell that there at Hard Truth as well. But if you wanted to, you could just go to Hard Truth, taste through all their spirits, have lunch, and then
their restaurant's great.
The restaurant's fantastic. And then you can go and walk around Nashville, get your craft shopping down, I guess. Yeah. And then you can stop at Big Woods right there in Nashville, which is their bar, and you can have dinner and drink their beers.
Yeah. They're all the Nashville shops, Nashville, Indiana, by the way.
Yeah, Nashville, Indiana, yes.
Are very trinkety, very touristy, kind of more craft-made things.
Exactly.
And,
cool. There's some cool stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, it is a fun place to go and look around and check things out. Definitely understand its tourist pricing.
Yes,
but
you're also right there close to the state forest there in Nashville. That is the Brown County State Forest, which is an absolutely fantastic state forest to go hiking and spend a day out in the woods.
Well, and there's quite a few cabins that you can rent there, relatively cheap. So check into some of those, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's a great way to blow a weekend and kind of have a little getaway, especially if you're in the central Indiana area. Like you're talking, at least from my house, it's an hour away, but it just is so secluded and away from everything and just enough.
Honestly, I mean, that would make you got the Bourbon Trail obviously down there, but you could have a bourbon weekend where you could leave, spend the night, or go down there on Friday night, spend the night, get up, do all your stuff in Nashville all day long, spend the night, and then drive down to Starlight, another hour down the road.
Yeah.
And spend a day at Starlight because fall is their big time too. They got the pumpkin patch and the apple orchards, all the food.
They just opened a new tasting experience too that's specifically catered to bourbon.
Nice.
If you're looking to go down there, make sure to get tickets for that. But they, in that, are having some of more of their higher end offerings. I know some of them in there are like their cigar batch offerings. They also have their toasted offerings in that tasting, and even Dana Huber's breast cancer awareness pick, which is
nice.
A 6-year, I think it was 116 proof straight bourbon, which I've heard great things about. It doesn't surprise me. Their higher aged bourbons are great.
Yeah, and I will say the two of the 4 toasted barrel releases they did here recently, I've had 2 of the 4. They were great.
Yeah,
they were really good. So it's nice to see them doing some stuff. Because I mean, if you know Starlight, they do a ton of finishes, and a lot of them are really good. But having those 2 toasted ones to be more of a traditional, just doing the toast is actually kind of nice. it was a nice change of pace for them.
Yeah. So I'm in the final third of the cigar, and I'm not ready to wrap this up quite yet because I'm about to ask you another question. But in the final third of the cigar, there is more of that dry, dark chocolate note in there. Still that umami characteristic is hanging around. Some woody cedar qualities. It is like fall fire cigar.
Yeah, and I'm getting a lot of that pepper in the nose now too. So which has been in there the whole time, but it's starting to ramp back up.
It's definitely full bodied.
It is.
I'm happy about that.
And that's one thing too. You know, a lot of people are getting real nervous about full bodied cigars. If you smoke mostly only mild, then maybe stay away from it. But if you're like into that mild to medium range, you can probably smoke a full bodied cigar. Just slow down.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times the head buzz you get is because you're over puffing it, or you're just smoking the cigar faster than it needs to be smoked.
Or just haven't eaten.
Yeah. But again, we've told people the trick before. I don't know if we ever said on the show or not.
We have, but it's been a while. So
just if you get that head buzz from nicotine, just throw a little bit. Just get those little sugar packets. Throw a little bit of sugar under your tongue. Let it sit there for a few seconds, and you'll pop right back out of it. Literally, your brain thinks you're having a low blood sugar reaction, and as soon as you put sugar under your tongue, it comes right back out of it.
Which under your tongue is a great place for your body to soak in things.
Yeah. And you could even put it on top of your tongue and push it to the roof of your mouth. Same kind of thing you're getting there. It's just going into your system quicker.
Yeah. So we are officially into October. So O&D, October, November, December are the limited release months for all of the big distilleries. Last year, what we saw was toasted everything.
Yeah.
Everything came out.
Which we're not saying that's a bad thing. That was actually a pretty good thing. By probably at least half of them were really good.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have an issue with it because it is still sticking to those more straight bourbon or straight whiskey roots. So
before you go to your question, let me ask you this. What was your favorite toasted you had from last year?
I think my favorite toasted from last year was the Nulu small batch toasted.
That was me too.
Yeah.
I felt like it had the most balanced toasted flavor of any of them, and it wasn't too low.
But it was still a bourbon.
But it was still a bourbon.
It still felt like a bourbon.
Yeah. And like Elijah Craig toasted. People love that. People buy it all the time. But it's a lower proof option, and we like the higher proof stuff. Yeah. But I feel like that, like in the Basil Hayden toast, really, really light on the palate. Those aren't bad, but when you got into that Nulu, the Nulu toast just had so much toasted flavor in it. It was really nice. So I was the same one.
Yeah.
I figured you might be.
So last year, I would say it was the proliferation of all of the toasted limited editions. Even Wild Turkey did a toasted limited edition, which people were kind of up in arms about. What do you think this year's shtick or finish is going to be on some of the like allocated releases that come out towards the end of the year?
I don't know. I really don't know on the bourbon side. I feel like a lot of has started right now. I feel like there's going to be a push for a lot of smaller distilleries, not just the big ones and not just the European ones, of more single malts.
Okay.
Seems like we saw a little bit of a push on that earlier in the year. That seems to be kind of a natural progression. It's like, look what we can do. Oh, by the way, here's our single malt.
Yeah.
I could see that being something, possibly more, and this is not on the actual side of the distillers. This is more on regulations. I could see them finally start putting some regulations on, not regulations, but categories on finished and, you know, the different things, so that there's more of categories that people can win their category and not just be lumped into a bunch of other stuff. Totally. I could see that being, and that needs to happen.
Oh, it needs to happen. So here are my two predictions based on brands that I've already seen come out with their heavy hitting releases. I think we're going to see a lot more limited edition ryes coming out, like the Parker's Heritage 10-year rye, which we'll hopefully be able to try at some point.
Which we've started seeing with, Jack Ryes and all those coming. So, yeah.
So I think those will be, we'll see even more of those come out towards the end of the year. I think the other thing we'll see is rum finishes.
Could be.
Wild Turkey did a rum finish. Quite a few people I know are playing around with rum finishes.
Huh.
And it wouldn't even surprise me if the Yellowstone limited edition this year, Limestone Branch or whatever that bottle is, the big square bottle.
Yeah.
Was a rum finish this year. That's what seems to be how the trend is going. They're finding that you can add those vanilla, those really like simple syrupy notes into an already sweet whiskey and just make it desserty.
Yeah. Yeah, and talking about rum a little bit too, that will be a good thing. Maybe we can ask Will to come on the show with us here soon. Will I think he's still down there, but he's on his way back. He went to Key West, and he went down with Fred Minnick and the Marzipan crew of theirs. It's basically a Fred Minnick club, and they went down to Hemingway's distillery in Key West, and they were doing barrel picks for Minnick. I want to talk to him a little bit about that process because I saw a little bit of a live video. It looks like they were out on a boat having a blast last night. So it'll be fun to maybe talk about that experience because we've all, we've done a lot of barrel picks. It'd be interesting to see what does that look like when you're in Key West doing a barrel pick at Hemingway's distillery.
Yeah, so
Papa Pilar is the distillery.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because recently they just came out with Hemingway whiskey.
Yeah,
brand.
which is what their pick was, I believe. Yeah.
But on that boat, they were drinking Papa's Pilar.
Yeah.
Which
winning in Rome, baby.
Well, and I know Fred, when he gets tired of bourbon, he just switches to rum.
Yeah,
and
honestly,
wrong
that's
with that.
not a bad thing at all because we do this. I mean, my God, we've got 148 proof brandy up there. You can get stuck in the weeds on proof pretty quickly.
Yeah,
and we also have Yellow Rose bourbon that's 80 proof. That's super flavorful, but if you're sitting there starting with all these high proof stuff, it's really hard to go backwards. So it's kind of nice to take that break every once in a while, maybe drink some rum or get into some tequila or something a little bit lower proof that you can kind of retrain your palate a little bit on the sweeter notes.
Yeah,
because it's really hard to get a lot of sweet. I mean, this one being 122 proof is about as sweet as I think you can get on a bourbon at a higher proof.
I think so.
In a good way, in a very, very good way.
So I heard the other night, we're not going to throw him under the bus.
Why not?
But he said that one of the old Clifty picks we did, the brandies, were a little proofy for him. So
yes.
Let's throw that out to people and say, here's what you can do if that's proofy for you. My first word of advice would be, it cannot be your first pour.
No.
I would never pour something 140 proof as my first pour. You have to work your palate up to it. And if not, couple ways that I could tell you to do it is drink it over ice.
Yes.
You're going to proof it down to probably just 120.
Exactly.
Like you're not going down that far on that bottle. And
it will change the complexity a lot. Like I've done it on both of them now. And on the lower proof one, which the lower proof one's 141.
Yeah.
That one, it pulls out a lot more of the brightness. It makes it a little bit brighter. It pulls out a little bit more of the apple, but you still know the bourbon's there. It's not quite as bourbon forward. But on that 148 proof one, with that being a rye port barrel, it just brings out chocolate.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And you could put it on a big cube, but it's already high proof, and it's going to be hard to drink that down fast enough before you get too much water in it.
Yeah.
But I've done it with a big cube on a 2-ounce pour and let it slowly melt. And even when the whole damn thing melts, you still get good flavor.
Another thing that I would say is we, especially in Indiana, but we're an apple growing state. So if you're able to get to an apple orchard and get some apple cider, here's a great cocktail for you to try.
Yep.
2 ounces of apple cider, 2 ounces of one of those brandies, 3 shakes of whatever bitters you like. I like Fee Brothers barrel-aged bitters, which those lean more cinnamon heavy, or Angostura bitters.
Yep.
Also work. A full ounce of honey syrup and a full ounce of lemon juice.
So that ends up being almost a double. I mean, really on the size of the pour.
Yeah.
Because you're almost double the ingredients of a normal cocktail.
It is a long drink.
Yeah.
But it is
Sounds delicious.
Oh, they're fantastic.
I bet.
I've made doubles and slammed them way too quickly. And
Throw
then
you a
been like,
cinnamon stick in there, you got fall.
dude, it is fall. It's literally fall in a glass.
Yeah.
And if you want to get fancy with it, take an orange peel and char it.
That would be
As
good.
you're expressing the oils, hit it with a little bit of a flame. Get the orange peel a little bit charred.
Yeah.
And it just adds so much to the aromatic experience. It's best shaken, but you can stir it as well. Just all of those, the apple cider in there along with the lemon juice, those will froth up a little bit if they're shaken. So
Yeah.
it just adds to a really velvety consistency on the drink. But that's another way that I've enjoyed those. I've enjoyed those picks straight up. And on that cocktail, I would probably lean toward the lower proof option, which was just aged in a Lee W. Sinclair barrel. That one is the only one I've tried it with.
I bet it'd be good with the other one, though, too.
I bet it would.
That rye port barrel, I bet it'd just make it even more fall.
But that would be a great way to drink that too. And also just grow accustomed to brandies. I mean, you're talking about apple cider, apple brandy. It's fall in a glass. Go out, grab a cigar, have a fire, and you're going to be chilling.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly.
I'll tell you another one that I tried here this week was we do one called a Toronto, which a Toronto is basically a Manhattan, and instead of using vermouth, you're using Fernet.
Yeah.
I've done that with the higher proof,
Which
the
is
port
the
rye.
Rye port. Yeah.
I've done that with that, and it's delicious. I mean, it just changes the cocktail completely, but you still get the earthy, herbal kind of thing from the Fernet, but you get all that flavor from it's actually a really nice cocktail too. It's a proofy cocktail, but it's a good cocktail.
I mean, but if I'm going to have neat pours of those bottles, I approach them the same way that I do the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye that I have. I would, because that's 139 proof. You can't just go from eating dinner to having 139 proof because your mouth, as much as you do love higher proof offerings, is not going to be accustomed to it yet.
Right.
If you can step into something in that even 105 to 125 range before you get into that, even if it's just a half ounce pour, you're warming your palate up. Pour you some Wild Turkey Rare Breed, something like that.
Yeah.
And you're going to love that. Love those higher proof offerings even more.
Yeah, I agree. I did see something online that I thought I'd bring up, just more of an educational thing than really calling this guy out. But there was a guy in one of the bourbon clubs that posted a picture of a bottle that he hated. Apparently he hated. And but he had pulled it out of the freezer.
Yeah.
And laid it up on the counter, and it was still frosty. He's like, "Oh, I know it's frosty. I pulled it out of the freezer. I didn't really like the barrel. I wanted to finish it off." And he got berated by a couple of people. But honestly, it is something that sometimes people do when they're new to whiskey, thinking, "Oh, this helps." The science behind that really is, and it's not really science. It's just when you cool down something to that freezing level, and obviously alcohol does not freeze, you lose all the flavor. I mean, basically what you're doing is you're just killing all the notes that you could possibly get when it's a little warmer. Because honestly, whiskey is best at maybe just slightly below room temperature.
So here's what I'll say to that. And there is a certain point with enough time in a freezer that there will be certain compounds within the whiskey that disappear.
Right.
It will not be the same if you pull it up to room temperature again and side by side it with the exact same bottle at the exact
Same way if you have it in super hot conditions for a long period of time, it's going to change
and there is a Whiskey Tribe video about it.
Okay.
But there is something smart about that, about using that technique to finish off a bottle. Your palate picks up flavors best at room temperature, and it doesn't matter if it's hot coffee or it's super cold whiskey. You are not perceiving the full flavors of that because your tongue cannot handle the extreme temperatures.
Right.
There are certain flavor compounds that you can't pick up because it is either too hot or too cold.
You're shocking your palate is what you're doing in that boat. You're shocking the palate and you're not getting the taste buds engaging.
So, you'll see it a lot even in coffee cuppings, which is where they are literally throwing coffee grounds in with hot water and slurping it off of a spoon. They will try it all the way through the process until it hits room temperature to figure out what roast level they're gonna do that coffee at.
Interesting.
As far as a big batch goes, because your palate at room temperature is able to detect everything that whatever it is that you're tasting has to offer. So chilling something down significantly, like sticking it in a deep freeze, is a great way to get rid of a bottle that you don't like. And this guy on the club page, he had a New Riff bourbon, which I have not historically been a big fan of. You will never see me picking up a New Riff bourbon blind. New Riff Rye, on the other hand, I like some of them.
I will say on New Riff, for me, about 1 in every 3 picks are really good.
Yeah.
The regular release stuff, I'm not a huge fan of.
No, neither am I.
And obviously, there's some. I mean, I'm not a huge Makers fan either. I don't like Makers.
I do like Makers.
People love Makers. It's not that just because we say we don't like it, you shouldn't try it. Figure out your own palate. I'm not a weeder guy. There's a few weeders I like, but for them, for some, and I will say, New Riff has a following. They have a huge following of people that love their stuff. Great. Some of their bottle prices are pretty good prices.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad price.
Totally.
But yeah, I'm that way too, man. I'm the same way.
But it is a great way to drink down a bottle. And the other thing is, if you have a bottle that you don't like, make a cocktail out of it. There's, the old fashioned was originally made to rectify a spirit that wasn't exactly palatable on its own.
Yeah.
Now, using a great spirit in it will make a better old fashioned. But just keeping those things in mind, and really, I know we've talked a lot about them, but the best whiskey is the whiskey you like to drink the way you like to drink it.
100%.
So
don't let people bash you. Honestly, if you like your whiskey in a freezer, you do you. You bought the bottle. It's for you to drink the way you want to. The only thing we're saying is you might try it other ways just to make sure you're not, ruining the whiskey for your
And
your
the other
palate.
thing is if you try it one night and you think it's heinous, don't make a rash decision and change the entire bottle that evening.
Well, and you hear a lot of people say this, and a lot of people say, "Oh, that's just bullshit." Neck pours matter.
I think so.
Once you introduce air to a bottle, it does help the bottle help the whiskey come together and open up and air out. It's kind of like airing out a wine or anything else.
Yeah.
The good thing about whiskey is once you add air to it, it's not going to go bad in a week like wine does. But it's not about that neck pour. You never judge a bottle based on just your first pour.
Yeah.
You always got to go back into it.
Oh,
just like this. I mean, just like this here. The neck pour was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, I hated
It's
it.
getting better. It's still not one I'd ever buy, but it's actually getting better. But it changed.
It
quite
definitely
a bit.
did. Yeah. So other thing is it depends on what you've eaten that day. If you just went to a Mexican restaurant, had slightly spicy food, you ate a ton of queso or something fatty, you are not, like, the fat coats your tongue, you're not able to perceive the whiskey in the same way. Same thing if you just went out, you had a milkshake, or you just ate mac and cheese for dinner.
Yeah.
It is not going to be the optimal whiskey tasting experience. I would say the same thing with the steak. Like most steaks that you're getting have just a compound butter on top of them, which makes them so much better. Or they're just drenched in fat, which makes a great steak.
Yep.
Same thing goes for brisket. That fat coats your tongue for way longer than you ever think it would.
Yeah. Well, and there's a couple of ways to help kind of bring your palate out. It may not come back fully depending on what you do eat, but I mean, the two ways that I always tell people are, my favorite way is if I come off of something and I need to get my palate kind of back as quick as possible, just grab some unsalted almonds.
Yeah.
Chew those things up and eat them, kind of let them on your palate, and that helps clean your palate fairly quick. And then just saltine crackers with no salt, just regular no salt.
Well, I don't
crackers.
have an issue even with salt on saltines
and,
for that.
and it won't affect it too much.
But I would say that works for fatty foods. Acidic foods, you just can't come back from. It's only time that will let you come back from those. So if you're moving from something like a Cabernet to whiskey, that whiskey just will taste tannic to
Yeah.
you. Same thing, like if you had a more acidic leaning spaghetti sauce or something like that, or like even lemon pepper chicken, like you are not going to be able to taste whiskey the same way. So what would I do in that scenario? I would make cocktails with whiskeys that I'm not. Well, with whiskeys that I'm okay to make cocktails out of.
Well, and that's why if you look at pairings, like, Italian food goes really well with a lot of wines, especially some dry reds.
Which most of those foods have some acidic quality to them. So you're talking about dry reds, dry whites, and those are able to hold up to it. And that's not saying acid is your enemy. Like, acid is a great, refreshing thing to balance out a fatty meal otherwise.
Yeah. Well, and just a couple things, too. So coming up really soon, October 21st, we've got Justo and Trey coming from Aladino. So our big Aladino event is coming up. So put that on your calendar, October 21st. Now, we did have on our calendar a tasting with Backbone, which actually when this airs, it was last week, but that didn't happen. But we are going to have Travis Gallagher come out and do a tasting at some point.
Cool.
And it'll be more of a shop tasting, not a club tasting. So we'll have everybody out here. So that'll be a good time.
That'll be great. Well, I think we can put a bow on this.
All right.
So,
well, and again, the last notes of this cigar are just what we were talking about. It has that spice on the retrohale. You're still getting that umami in there, a little bit of dark chocolate, but it's holding up true to what it was. Never got overly strong. It's just really a nice, balanced cigar. Great with this barrel pick, too.
So be sure to like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channel if you can. Give us a 5-star review or just any sort of review on the podcast platform of your choice. It really helps us out. You can follow me on Instagram at the Whiskey Pastor.
Yeah, and you can get me at Final Third Cigar. So thanks for coming in and listening to this, guys, and we will see you here soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.